Hello there, dear YouTubers. My name is King1993 and today I'm gonna talk about a certain topic about this game. Now do understand that this game has been released for a matter of 1 year, and within 1 year there had been many weapons which are now available in the game which was not present at the game when the game first started. Everyone was to debate about which is the best weapon, either is it Skyward Harp or was it Amos Bow. Many other topics that many people discuss, but as the new weapons have come, many people are at this point confused of which type of weapon is considered the best type of weapon for which type of character. And in these today's videos, that is, I am gonna try my best to say what is actually the best weapon or the bow weapon for the bow type of character. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, the first character which I am gonna talk about is called Ember. Now the thing is, Ember is a free to play character which you are gonna get at the beginning part of your game, but the thing is, at the later part she is not gonna be that much useful when you are gonna compare her to other main DPS arrow or bows character. But at least even if you still have her, you can at least take advantage of her if you especially can get her to add Constellation 2 and at Constellation 4. At Constellation 2 she is capable of exploding her Baron Bunny by her charge shot, and at Constellation 4 she will have a maximum of 2 Baron Bunny on the field. Okay, so this is basically her main points when it comes to her doing a DPS amount of damage dealing. And in case if you are wondering, then what is the best bow for Ember? Now the best bow for Ember is actually the Thundering Pulse. Now truth to be told, I actually do not have Thundering Pulse, Skyward Harp or Amos Bow, so I had to rely on some other videos to actually get the information regarding which bow is actually the best for her. And the video or the video recommendation which you are seeing in front of your screen right now is basically one of that video. This video was uploaded by a certain YouTuber called Micro Uzi N1 Protom, whatever it is written here. So this person basically made this video regarding the Amos Bow, Thundering Pulse and Skyward Harp of which is the best, and the result basically showed that the Skyward Harp is capable of producing far more amount of damage when compared to Amos Bow or the Skyward Harp. Okay, now the next character which I'm gonna talk about is called Child or Tartaglia. I do not know why he has two names. Okay, but all I can say is this is a character who has more benefit when you are capable of doing elemental skill damage rather than elemental burst damage. So if you do have this character for Tartaglia, you should be using this character mostly on his abilities to use the elemental skill and not the elemental burst. But what about the weapon? Now truth to be told, there are not that much video regarding of all three videos of Thundering Pulse, Amos Bow and Skyward Harp together, so I had to went to the YouTube and actually look for two videos. One of them is called Thundering Pulse versus Amos Bow, another one is called Thundering Pulse versus Skyward Harp. So in these two videos it basically shows that Amos Bow or the Skyward Harp are actually not the best type of weapon for the character called Tartaglia, because Tartaglia main damage capabilities, as I've said, is from elemental skill damage. Okay, and because of that, the more the damage rate or the critical damage rate the weapon has, the more he will be able to do the damage. So based on that, Thundering Pulse always comes to the top, because Thundering Pulse is the only weapon which I have able to gather from all of this video that it is has the highest amount of damage dealing for the character Tartaglia. So if you are wondering what is the best weapon for Tartaglia, then the best weapon for Tartaglia is actually Thundering Pulse and not Amos Bow, or Skyward Harp. Okay, the next character which I'm gonna talk about is called Dioemia. Now Dioemia was introduced in 2.0, and not only that, Dioemia seems to have the same capabilities of that of the other character which I just mentioned called Child. And how is that? Both Child and Dioemia has the same capabilities that if you were to use their elemental burst, they will not be able to do a maximum amount of damage. But if you were to use their elemental skill, then they should be able to do a large quantity of damage. So in that regard, the best weapon for them is actually the Thundering Pulse. Now in case if you are wondering, then where is the demonstration video? Well, truth to be told, I do not have Thundering Pulse, Skyward Harp and Amos Bow, and because of that I actually had to rely on some other video, and the one which I have gotten from the YouTube section, that is from a YouTuber called Zatu Arc, and this Zatu Arc is basically a person who has comparing Thundering Pulse, Amos Bow and Skyward Harp on Dioemia, and I saw that video and eventually saw that Thundering Pulse was capable of doing far more amount of damage when compared with Amos Bow or the Skyward Harp. So if you want to do a maximum amount of damage on the enemies, then the best weapon I highly suggest is the Thundering Pulse. Okay, now the next character which I'm gonna talk about is called Kanyo. Now Kanyo is one of the most powerful DPS arrow or bow character in the game, more powerful than any of the other bow character in the game. So when compared to any other boss character, one can easily say, why are you even comparing Kanyo with anyone else? Okay, now in case if you are wondering, then what is Kanyo's main specialty? Now Kanyo's main specialty is not the elemental burst or the elemental skill, rather Kanyo's most important capabilities is the her elemental charge shot. Okay, so if you want to take the most advantage out of her elemental charge shot, then the best weapon which I highly suggest for her is actually the Amos Bow, because the Amos Bow, since it doesn't actually have any type of other recommendation, if people were to use the Amos Bow for the charge shot, then the Amos Bow is capable of doing the maximum amount of damage when compared to either Skyward Harp or the Thundering Pulse, because Skyward Harp and Thundering Pulse, they have a different mechanism to follow. So as a result, their overall damage output is gonna be lower. And when compared with the Amos Bow basically have a higher base damage and higher attack percentage in the secondary stat, making it actually become more powerful than the other weapons, because when you use this Amos Bow on Kanyo, then Kanyo is capable of doing hard charge shot, and hard charge shot actually gains more power the further away the enemies are. So based on that, I highly suggest that the best weapon for her that you must need to use is the Thundering Pulse. Now in case if you are wondering, sorry, not Thundering Pulse, the Amos Bow. Okay, now in case if you are wondering, then where are the demonstration regarding that? Well, the demonstration regarding that, since I do not have this character or the weapon, I went to someone else, and this is the only video which I have included in my recommendation. That is because Skyward Harp is basically a world weapon, and this Skyward Harp is not even capable of doing that much amount of damage by using on Kanyo, so Skyward Harp is out of the topic. So I basically compared the Thundering Pulse with Amos Bow, and each time the player did the damage using the Amos Bow was doing far more damage dealing than the Thundering Pulse. Okay, now we are almost at the near the final part of this video, where I'm gonna say about all of the other 4 characters which are currently available in the game. One of them is called Diona, one of them is called Fischl, another of them is called Sara, and one of them is called Fenty. Now truth to be told, I have to categorize all 4 of them in the same category as a support character in the game. Now I'll tell you why. Diona is a support character because she is capable of healing the other characters in the game, and can also produce a shield not only for herself but for other characters as well. But in order for Dioemia to actually do her healing capabilities is by using her elemental burst, and in order for her to actually receive her elemental burst at a very fast period of rate, she must need to have an elemental recharge or energy recharge weapon. Okay, so which is why I have given her the weapon called Febunia's Warbow. Now not only for her but for the other 3 characters as well, such as Fenty, Stellasora and for Fischl as well. That is because this Febunia's Warbow is actually the best weapon when it comes to energy recharge. Now what about Fischl? Fischl is one of those characters where her elemental skill can stay on the field even when she is not on the field. So basically speaking, if you want to use her, you can use her elemental skill and then again call some other main DPS character on the field, and she should still be able to help that main DPS character to do some electro damage as well. Now there is another character called Stellasora who also fall into the same categories as Fischl. That is because she is also capable of producing an electro charge related stuff which can stay on the field for a long period of time, so that your other main DPS character can actually make the enemies nearby get some electro related elemental reaction. And finally there is this character called Fenty, who has been available from the beginning part of the game, and this Fenty is basically able to gather all of the enemy in a single spot, the smaller enemies that is, and then cause them to take multiple amount of shield damage. So basically speaking, the reason Fenty is considered as one of the support character is because of his elemental burst and his elemental skill. So based on that, the best weapon for all of these sub DPS or support characters such as Dioemia, Fischl, Stellasora and Fenty is the Febunia's Warbow, because the Febunia's Warbow actually produces the maximum amount of energy recharge than any other boss in the game. And not only that, this Febunia's Warbow is something that you should be able to get on a regular basis from the weapon banner. Okay, so I highly suggest that you try to get the Febunia's Warbow for the support characters. Okay, before ending the video with the conclusion, there is another important topic that you must need to remember. Remember that whenever there is a weapon which has a higher base stat and it has also another attack stack, that is, then obviously that weapon is gonna be stronger than weapon which has high base stat and high amount of critical damage. Now the reason I am saying this, that in case if you do not get the most powerful weapons such as Thundering Pulse or Amos Bow, if you are looking for alternative for other weapons, then go for a weapon which has an overall higher percentage of base damage and overall attack percentage. In that regard, whichever weapon there is, obviously that weapon is gonna be stronger than the other weapon. A good example would be like the Prototype Crescent. Now I highly recommend this weapon. That is because this weapon has a higher base stat, and not only that, it has also higher attack percentage in the secondary stat, causing it to have a total damage of 1089 of damage output. So obviously if you were to use this weapon especially on the weak spot of every enemy, that is, then this weapon should be able to let you do a far more amount of damage when compared to the other weapons. But obviously, as I've already said, weapon that has higher base stat is gonna be powerful. For example, there is a high chance of a Skyward Harp doing more damage than this Prototype Crescent. So bear that in mind, and always go for a weapon which has an overall higher primary stat than the secondary stat, and if the primary and the secondary stat has overall higher attack percentage, that go for that one. Okay, Okay, so we are now at the conclusion of this video. Now, truth to be told, the recommendation rate is always gonna change because the more character which is gonna be added, the more new information is gonna be added as well, and the more new character is added in the game, the more miHoYo will try their best to include another boss in the game which will be better than the previous one. So in that regard, I will try my best to upgrade this chart as much as possible, since in 2.1 the maximum amount of bows is actually the newest bow which has been added to the game is the Thundering Pulse. Then I suggest that you follow this instruction until you get another update where another new bow will be added to the game, and in that case I will then upload a new video regarding which bow you should be adding for which type of character. Okay, so if you like this video, then please give a like and subscribe and click the bell notification icons in order to get this type of video on a regular basis. Thank you.